Outline of the System of Security Export Control. This e-learning program is designed to help faculty, staff, and students of universities and research institutes to understand the basics of security export control. Security export control is essential when conducting educational and research activities involving the transfer of technologies and export of goods. License from the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry may be required as a result of review by each university or research institute. As for specific procedures, please follow the rules of each university or research institute and implement them appropriately. In this unit, I will explain the outline of the System of Security Export Control. This video material was prepared based on information available as of March 2023. For the latest information, please visit the METI's website on the Security Export Control. Outline of the system. In Japan, the Foreign Exchange and Foreign Trade Act, so-called FEFTA, regulates the transfer of technologies and the export of goods. Export control under the FEFTA consists of two types of controls: list control and catch-all control. These controls require the license in advance from the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry to transfer or export controlled technologies or goods. Regulations are organized from two perspectives: destinations of the transfer of technologies and export of goods, and what items are transferred and exported. If the technologies or goods fall under the list control items, which are specified by cabinet order and ministerial order as advanced technologies or goods that can be diverted to military use based on an agreement in the multilateral export control regime, an application for license is required regardless of the destination. If there are security concerns about the recipient or its purpose of use, such as suspected involvement in the development of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction or conventional weapons, the catch-all control may require an application for license, even for technologies or goods that do not fall under the list control items. The application for license related to the catch-all control is not required for the transfer of technologies or the export of goods to areas where the security export control is strictly enforced, as listed in the appended Table 3 of the Export Trade Control Order, such as the United States and Germany. List control. List control is a system that requires prior license from the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry to transfer or export advanced technologies or goods that can be diverted to development of or other related activities for arms or weapons of mass destruction, regardless of the destination. Determining whether the technologies to transfer or the goods to export fall under the list control items is called classification. The Goods Technologies Matrix Table, a table listing list control items and specifications, is available on the METI's website in Excel file format, and the latest version can be downloaded. List controlled items. The specific list control items are shown on this screen. Details of these items can be found in the Goods Technologies Matrix Table mentioned earlier. Catch-all control. Catch-all control consists of two types of controls: weapons of mass destruction catch-all control and conventional weapons catch-all control. Catch-all control is a system that requires prior license from the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry in advance in case exporters have come to know that the technologies to transfer or goods to export could be used for the development of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction or conventional weapons. To determine whether the transaction is regulated by the catch-all control, exporters must confirm whether there are any security concerns about the purpose of use and the recipient. In addition, prior license is also required when the Minister of Economy, Trade, and Industry informs the exporter that license application is required. This is called an informed condition. It should be noted that the catch-all control applies to almost all technologies and goods other than list control items. Examples of goods that are particularly likely to be used for the development of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction or conventional weapons can be found on the METI's website. Matters to be confirmed in advance under the objective condition. In terms of objective condition in the catch-all control, the matters that exporters must confirm in advance are classified from the perspectives of the two controls and destinations. As explained above, the application for license related to the catch-all control is not required for the transfer of technologies or the export of goods to areas listed in the appended Table 3 of the Export Trade Control Order, such as the United States and Germany. First of all, there are matters to be confirmed in relation to the weapons of mass destruction catch-all control. In the case of transfer of technologies or the export of goods to countries and areas other than those listed in the appended Table 3 of the Export Trade Control Order, there are two conditions to be confirmed: the end-use condition and the end-user condition. The end-use condition refers to confirming whether the item will be used for the development of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction. The end-user condition refers to confirming whether the recipient is or has been developing of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction. The METI lists companies, universities, and other organizations of concern for their involvement in the development of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction in the Foreign End User List, which is available on its website. An application for license is required to transfer technologies or export goods to organizations listed on the Foreign End User List, unless it is clear that the technologies or the goods will not be used to develop of or other related activities for weapons of mass destruction. The Foreign End User List is revised every year, so please check the latest list. Next, there are matters to be confirmed in relation to the conventional weapons catch-all control. When transferring technologies or exporting goods to countries and areas to which arms exports are banned by the UN Security Council resolution, it is necessary to confirm the end-use condition, that is, whether the items will be used for the development of or other related activities for conventional weapons. Acts of transferring technology subject to the control. In terms of the export of goods, the acts of sending or taking goods across borders are subject to the control. In terms of the transfer of technology, the acts of transferring technologies subject to the control are broadly classified into two categories. First, I will explain the cases that are subject to the control from a human perspective. In this case, transactions for the purpose of transferring technologies from a resident to a non-resident fall under the transfer of technologies regulated by FEFTA, which is called deemed export. This includes, for example, the act of transferring technologies in Japan from residents to non-residents through research instructions or training. In addition, since May 1, 2022, the transfer of technologies to a resident who was strongly influenced by a non-resident, that is, a specific category person, has been regarded as that to the non-resident. So the transfer of technologies to a specific category person is also subject to the control. Please refer to the clarification of the scope of deemed export control section of this e-learning course for an explanation of the review of the system regarding deemed export and specific category persons. The definitions of resident and non-resident are explained on the next page. Next, I will explain the cases that are subject to the control from a geographic perspective. In this case, transactions for the purpose of transferring technologies to a foreign country fall under the transfer of technologies regulated by the FIFTA, and therefore the act of transferring technologies to a person in a foreign country across borders is subject to the control, regardless of whether the person is a resident or a non-resident. This includes, for example, the act of transferring technical information by telephone or email from Japan to foreign joint research partners. In addition, the act of storing technology on a USB memory and taking it to a foreign country for the purpose of transferring the technology, the act of uploading technology to a foreign server for the purpose of transferring it, and the act of storing technology on a server that can be accessed from a foreign country using cloud services such as SaaS also fall under the transfer of technologies regulated by the FIFTA. It should be noted that taking technology out does not fall under the Act subject to the control so long as it is taken out for self-use and brought back without being transferred to anyone. Please refer to the Precautions in Individual Cases section of this e-learning course for an explanation of specific situations in which attention is required. Determination of residents and non-residents. Residents and non-residents are defined as follows. For example, if we think about accepting foreign international students, the target foreign international student falls under a non-resident if 6 months have not passed since he or she entered Japan. On the other hand, if 6 months or more have passed since the entrance, he or she falls under a resident. For example, with regard to the acceptance of foreign researchers, if the foreign researcher is employed and works at a university or research institute in Japan, he or she falls under a resident. In determining residency status, if the technology is transferred to individual foreign international students or researchers, the determination is judged based on the residency of the individual. On the other hand, if technology is transferred through an international student or researcher who came to Japan to the organization from which he or she came or to which he or she belongs, the determination is judged based on the residency status of the organization. Penalties for legal violations. Transferring or exporting technologies or goods subject to the control without license may be punished under the law. Criminal penalties may include imprisonment of up to 10 years, a fine of up to 30 million yen for individuals, and a fine of up to 1 billion yen for juridical persons. Fines can be imposed on both individuals and juridical persons. Administrative sanctions may include a ban on the export of goods and the transfer of technologies within 3 years. Even when a case is not subject to criminal penalties or administrative sanctions, METI may issue a warning and publish it on its website. The impact of violations may go beyond legal penalties and lead to enormous impacts, including deterioration of the organization's image and social sanctions. In this way, penalties can be imposed not only on the offending researchers, but also on universities and research institutes. Therefore, each university and research institute must fully understand the system and thoroughly control the transfer of technologies and the export of goods so as not to violate laws and regulations. This concludes my explanation of the outline of the system of security export control.